My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, but also getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. You can find the link to our playlist in the show notes. Welcome to episode 116. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guests today are These New South Wales. The Melbourne-based punk band have had a stellar 2021, continuing their takeover of all forms of media, including podcasts, TV and music. In today's episode, we're speaking with Todd from the band about their What a Great Punk podcast, signing with Melbourne label Damaged, and returning to gigs. Here we go. Our guest today is one quarter of punk band These New South Wales. Whether it's their self-titled mockumentary series on Comedy Central, their What a Great Punk podcast, or their recent signing with Melbourne label Damage, the band have continued to go from strength to strength in 2021. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Todd Andrews from These New South Wales. Hello, sir.
Hello, Simon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Very well.
That's good to hear. Thank you for your time today.
Pleasure.
Now, I feel like when I was having a look at what to kind of discuss with you today for These New South Wales, that there's just quite like a high volume of topics that I really could bring up, because you guys, I feel like although bands have been quiet over the pandemic, you guys have just been kind of killing it in every medium that you look at.
Yeah, I guess. I think, I mean, we didn't really have an aim of like the pandemic's here, so we better panic and pivot and do everything that we can do. We were just kind of, it was all pretty organic. The podcast we've been doing, we were talking about like doing before that. And we had the TNSW Tonight, the talk show that we released, like developed before that as well. So it kind of just worked out, I guess, well in that regard.
That's very fair. The podcast has kind of taken off. What a Great Punk is the podcast where yourself and Jamie kind of host and chat to a number of, I want to say like half of them are good friends of yours. Another half are bands that you've just kind of either toured with, or some I think just been set up with in a way. How do you find being on that other end of, I guess, like media cycles for albums and everything are one thing, but yeah, how do you feel being on that other end of having to chat to bands? And
I really enjoy it. I think, like you said, most of the time with that podcast, we kind of try and keep it very conversational. It's kind of, I guess, slightly different to this one in a way. It's like less of an interview, more of like just conversational. Like we'll talk to bands like and not even talk about music, you know? Like it's sort of it started out with just friends, and like you said, we branched out into a few other, I guess, acts that maybe get pitched to us or that we encounter that might be interesting to our audience or that we think we'll have a fun chat with. But yeah, I like it. It's good. Sometimes we'll delve into some interviewee kind of stuff, but it's generally just interesting conversation for us. So yeah, I don't mind it.
It is. I found that you guys do kind of find that perfect line between being able to kind of interview them or discuss whatever is going on with them professionally, but still, yeah, it is more conversational. Like the recent one with Scarlett from San Cisco and talking about, who was it? It was either you or her who I think made the extremely, I don't know if it was you or her, but it was either you or her who I think made the extremely, 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 I think made the ex like hit the nail on the head when you said that in terms of Sydney being like, what was it? Sydney was Rip Curl, Melbourne was, and when you said that Adelaide was Fox, it was like, I feel very seen. Adelaide feels seen.
That's right. Well, I think I said, we were saying that Sydney was Mambo, maybe, and
that's right.
Melbourne was, what was Melbourne? I can't remember. But we were saying, I said Adelaide was Hot Tuna, and then then Scarlett said it was actually Fox, and it's true. They're both true.
Both are very true, 100%.
Yeah.
When you, I guess in terms of prep for What a Great Punk, do you and Jamie, I guess first, like how much will you look into the background of an artist, not even for an interview, but just to kind of get a sense of what they're like?
It really depends on whether I'm frightened of having things to talk about or not. So sometimes there'll be bands or like artists that we chat to that I don't know a lot about musically, but I know it's going to be a fun conversation just regardless, and I won't do any prep. But then there's some where I'm a bit more nervous. I don't want to get caught out, so I'll do a bit of research and have a few notes. But yeah, it varies from time to time. Like tomorrow we've got Ruben from Peking Ducks coming on, and like we've met a bunch of times, sort of mutual followers on Instagram, this kind of stuff. I'm not going to do any research for that. I'm just going to jump on, and I don't know heaps about Peking Duck besides that they're very successful. No need to for that one.
Yeah, no, I'm very, very excited to hear the results of that chat. And
well, he actually did me a favor.
Oh yeah,
sorry, he did me a favor. He texted me today and said, "This is, by the way, this is my new EP for my side project that we just put out." And I was like, "Thank you, I appreciate that."
Was it Yoga?
Fuck, I don't know what the band's called. I've got it in my Spotify stick. Yeah, Yoga. It's really good. You're Only Great Always too.
Yeah,
is the EP sent me. It was awesome.
You've had some big names on there as well, like Adrian Grenier from people would know from Entourage or from Clickbait, and Roger from The Cure. Is there anyone that you guys kind of have? Is there a bucket list for What a Great Punk?
I don't think so. No, there isn't. No, they came out, by chance of Jamie sort of acting in Clickbait with Jamie, my co-host, with Adrian. So kind of became friends and just asked him on, and he said yes. So that one I did do. Jamie and I had a chat before that one just to talk about a bit of a game plan. Roger came about from The Cure because he's a friend of ours, and we've known him over the years from him being in our mockumentary series and stuff. And in terms of, I want to get Daniel Johns on. That's my big one, actually.
Have you been listening to his new podcast?
I actually haven't yet, but I am a huge fan, and it's crazy that I haven't seen the new episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm yet, or listened to the Daniel Johns podcast. So I'm letting myself down a bit there, but I know that I will definitely listen to both in full very soon. Have you?
No, I'm kind of wanting to. I know it seems silly, but from all the reviews that I've heard and how good it's meant to be, I kind of want to save it to like binge all at once.
I think that's what I'm doing too. Yeah. With Curb and the DJ pod.
It's a smarter way to do it, I feel.
Yeah.
The band, as you just mentioned, has a mockumentary series as well, which I want to touch on a little bit later. But yeah, first and foremost, you guys are a band. You do play music. And by the time that this episode comes out, it would have been announced a few weeks ago, but you guys signed with Damaged, which is an indie Melbourne label recently.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
in doing prep for today, I kind of went back and watched the mockumentary, and I think one of the episodes that I watched was the which one was it? Yourself and Jamie talking about, like, we don't want to be signed. Like, that's like coming to the party yeah. like this. And then the news was announced the next morning. So I guess what made you guys decide to go with Damage, and how that come about?
Yeah, well, the thing about the mockumentary is there's definitely a lot of truth in it, but it's also everything is very exaggerated. So we make a lot of outlandish claims, like wanting to be DIY to the death and all this kind of stuff in there. But I think those characters deep down really actually desperately want to be signed and don't want to be DIY to the death. But for us, we've been sort of, in terms of our music career for the band aspect of These New South Wales, we've done everything independently up until now. So we've sort of funded and released everything ourselves, and that's been great. There's cool to have like that sort of control and that kind of thing. But Damaged are kind of friends with ours, so it's a record label run by Clowns, the guys from Clowns, of the Melbourne, I guess, punk band. And we've spent a bit of time with them over the years. Like, we did an Australian tour with them back in 2018, I want to say, with it was DZ Death Rays, Clowns, and us and Boat Show on the bill. And we kind of got to know them quite well since then, and then I've just been sort of friends over the years, and they're kind of similar to us in the fact that they are kind of DIY to the death too. Like, they have their own booking label, their own record label. They like, on the road, they're just sort of basically self-managed. And I think signing with them is still a very DIY and like grassroots operation as far as we're concerned. It's like not signing with a major, not that there's anything wrong with that. I just don't think that would make sense for These New South Wales. And we just thought working with them would contribute to the music that we're about to release. So we thought, they really focus on their community and like physical, which is cool. So like selling vinyls and packaging them for the fans was like really cool, like collector's item kind of things, which we're really into. So I think it came about just from them saying, hey, do you want to release music through us? And us thinking that actually could be pretty good.
The vinyl that you guys are selling through them, I'm pretty sure is already sold out within like a few days, which is just wild.
Yeah, no, it's 50% sold out, but that's that's pretty good beyond our expectations. Yeah, it's cool. I think it's just that's something. So that was our first album, and we made 100 of those when we first released, when that first came out, and they sold pretty quickly because you were on tour at the time. And I think that was 2017, and I guess there's been a lot of new fans to the band in those 4 or 5 years. So I think there was quite a few people that wanted to get their hands on that and have been asking us to re-release it for a while. So it was cool that they were down to do that.
How often do you find people finding you through, I guess, because there are so many different avenues to the band, how many people do you find are like approaching you through your music, or kind of come up to you and like, I found you through the mockumentary and then found your music, and then,
It's a really good question, and it's such a mix. It's really interesting. Like, we'll get people at shows saying, I found you through your mockumentary. Like, I saw you on YouTube and I didn't know if it was real or fake, and I had to come down. Or there's other people that like heard us on the radio and then discovered the whole rest of the universe online through kind of digging a bit deeper. And then I was on the tram, like even just like heaps of stuff. Like it's funny, like I was on the tram once and these people were like, came up to me and asked me if I was from These New South Wales, and said yes. And they were like, I discovered you from the podcast interview you did talking about the TV show like a while back, from this like podcast that we love in the States called Yeah But Still, and it's just like like you said, there is so many avenues, and it's it is an interesting part of it. It's never the same.
This summer, Instacart presents famous summer flavors coming to your front door. Or pool. Or hotel.
Your grocery delivery has arrived, sir.
That was faster than room service.
No violins in the lobby.
Oh, seriously? Anyway, sit back, relax, and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Starring your favorite snacks, drinks, and more. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Rated H for hungry audiences. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
I honestly think you guys have, and whether, I know you said like it wasn't just like a reaction to the pandemic, that they were obviously in the works, but the way that you guys have set up D's New South Wales like as a brand almost, I think has been quite smart, because you're covering the podcast, like the mockumentary, music, vinyl. I went to grab the vinyl and it's not where I put it, so I apologize. But
do you have the first one?
I don't. I've got this one.
Oh yeah, sick.
So I've got that one, and
very good. I like that.
If they're still there on payday next week, I'll be getting one of those pink ones for the first album.
Nice.
With everything that you guys kind of have going and having all these plates spinning in the air at once, how do you find time to I know we discussed earlier the band practice was earlier this week, but how do you guys kind of manage the balance of music and the pod and possible future acting or visual endeavors?
I think we just do. It usually works out, like when we're filming the show, we're not touring, and when we're making we're like right now we're focusing on recording or writing for our album, so we're not we kind of just, I guess you just juggle. You kind of prioritize one to the center and then the other's going to sit in the sides, but you need to kind of be working on everything at once still too. So it is a lot at once. Like Jamie and I meet up weekly to write the new season of the series, and then we're also like band practicing another night or two a week to like songwrite and stuff, and then the podcast as well. So yeah, it's okay. Look, the answer is it's everything all at once. Now that I think about it, but it's been kind of like we'll release a series and then an album, and then we kind of rotate those things. I think next time around we might try and drop both at the same time if we can make that work. But yeah,
that would be very cool. I think a lot of fans, you guys do seem to have very loyal fans and very enthusiastic fans as well for the band.
Yeah, I think what you were saying about like there being a lot of avenues is kind of really organically built like a kind of community around the fans. So like not just like in terms of interacting with us, but like with each other. So the podcast has sort of helped with that. And then Jamie's on Twitch a couple of nights a week too. And they're really interactive and like regular platforms for the fans. So it's there's a lot, like you're touching them like regularly with that stuff and they can interact. So there's like now this Discord channel, like, which is basically a Discord server with, it's just essentially, if people don't know what that is, it's like a modern version of like what forums used to be online. So it's like a chat room where people get together and chat, and it's like basically just TNSW fans that have all met and started this, and it's really cool, and sort of we're in there and they're just chatting with each other, and they've got channels with like playlists, and everyone's posting photos of their dogs and cats and all this kind of stuff. And it's really built into this like awesome, really beautiful community.
That's very cool. I feel like when you guys were doing TNSW tonight, like in the when it was live and people were commenting in the chat, there was like a lot of camaraderie, and there was a lot of people maybe not giving Luke shit, but just like kind of ribbing Luke while you guys were on stage.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of that's was kind of the beginning of this new wave of like the community, where it's sort of very interactive, and there's a lot of in jokes that are like either created by the show or by the fans, and they're always so funny, like just those comments. And that's definitely where it started.
That's very, very cool. The band itself, it is a self-proclaimed, I'm going to go with self-proclaimed punk
Good,
band.
I'm glad I said nothing yet. Okay.
Previously, over the years, like I know that yourself and actually all the members, yourself, Jamie, Will, and Frank, and Luke, at a different stage, all kind of came from a different realm of music. What brought upon the formation of the Whales?
Like you said, we were all essentially playing in other bands at the time we started these New South Wales. Luke and I were in starting I Know Leopard at the time. Jamie and Will were in another band, and this was, I guess before Frank, but Frank was in a band also at the time, just he kind of joined when Luke left. But we were, I think, just hanging around, and Luke, Will, Jamie and I decided to start these New South Wales as sort of an outlet to have a band without any rules, or that wasn't taking itself seriously. So we were kind of at the time trying to play the game a bit and, write song, like, when you're at band practice or songwriting or recording, thinking about things like if the radio will like this part, or like what do you do with, songwriting and creating things with a bit of pressure and expectations, and I guess sort of playing to the rules a little bit. And we thought we'd start these New South Wales just as an exercise of freedom and like not having to do that. And so the only rule was that like there were no shitty ideas, and we'd just say yes to like everything in terms of creativity.
Yeah.
So I think things came out really organically from there. Like we never said we'd start a punk band, but like those were the sorts of songs that came out because it sort of just, I don't know, fits with that sort of ethos a little, like pretty well. And then, we could play terrible shows and with no one there, and it wouldn't matter because that was part of the fun. And it just kind of built from that. And I think those first sort of 3 to 5 years of the band before anyone really knew or cared about it was so fun. And it still is a really fun project because of how it all started. But basically just started as, we say joke band, but it was kind of just a band that we didn't have any expectations over.
Have you found that with, because it isn't a joke band, as we've discussed, you guys are touring, putting out records, you're like legitimately a punk band. With then having a mockumentary come out after that, did you find that there was like a bit of a, not stigma, but like something that you guys kind of had to push to be like, no, like that aside, we are a legit band?
Yeah, I think we still do. People have always been confused, and fair, like that's fair enough. Like it was like we had joke songs at the start, like and you know, we would just play with an excessive amount of strobe lights and like shirts off and gaffer tape over our nipples, and just have like a lot of fun and enjoy like the almost performance art aspect of like playing, which I think people liked when they saw it, or at least were intrigued by. It wasn't just like watching like a terrible punk band. At least there was like some other aspects to it. So it was kind of a novelty or joke kind of band or experience to start with. And then, yeah, we kind of funneled that creativity and humor, or like tongue-in-cheek humor, into like the mockumentary, and like more into the mockumentary series when we made that, and less into the music. And so it kind of developed into a band where we like make music now that we genuinely like and are proud of, and that people like, not because it's stupid. And then we make the mockumentary, which is the satire. So it has changed, like you said, but people are still confused, definitely. And I think a lot of people in the music industry are often confused. Like even close friends of ours, like Johan from IOU, like still, I don't reckon gets it. We're like really good friends. It's just like, yeah, it's sort of our fault a little, but also like half the fun.
I kind of feel that you guys can use it to your advantage in terms of I saw you guys play, I think, the Cranker maybe 2 years ago or so. When was that? 2019?
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good show. And I feel like there was a few people in the crowd who were kind of expecting like, you know, like the tape on the nipples and the strobes and everything like that. And so I feel like you can play into it as much as you want, or use it to kind of to fuck with people, essentially. Yeah,
it's good. It's fun. We can. And yeah, I really enjoy that aspect, like the blurring of the lines. It's always sort of been something that's part of everything we've done. It's really rewarding when people watch the mockumentary or TNSW Tonight and not know if it's real or fake, or you know, scripted or anything like that. And like we get a lot of satisfaction out of that, because that's kind of what we try to do with those things. I just think some people don't struggle to get it, which is fine.
As long as they're getting some enjoyment out of it, regardless whether it's the show, the pod, the music.
Yeah, exactly.
You're good. Yeah. The band is getting back to a live setting on December 3rd at Stay Gold in Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
How, I guess after the world's longest lockdown, how excited are you guys to kind of get back out there and play a proper show?
Yeah, we cannot wait. It'll be really fun. I think we had a similar thing this time last year, playing after not being able to play all year, and yeah, it was great. It's good to be able to like just get into the studio and rehearse the songs, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to doing some interstate shows and touring a bit next year, and just doing all the normal things again, which is sort of the actual band things. It's really funny though, because it's sort of, because there's shows back on, literally everyone's playing at the moment. So it's actually really hard to put a lineup together in terms of having other acts on the bill. Like everyone is booked or playing near that time, and it's a really sort of something we haven't really experienced before, where it's just everyone's playing at once. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
I have heard that, where, yeah, as you said, because everyone's been inside, it's literally just everyone's fighting for these dates to get back out there, which makes it impossible.
Well, yeah, so the dates, it's hard to get a date through to like a good part of next year in terms of booking a venue. But then, yeah, it's hard to fill the lineup with artists because you don't want to cannibalize your own shows by playing too many around the same time. And there's literally like that many shows going on that there's almost not enough bands to play.
It's an odd problem that I never ever really thought that we'd have, but it's as you said, it's uncharted territory.
Yeah, exactly.
Todd, usually we would ask our guests what they're currently listening to. Is there anything at the moment that you're either on record player or streaming service what you're currently really enjoying?
Yeah, I'm just, as you're saying this, I'm clicking into my Spotify, but I am a big Turnstile fan, and I think their third album, which came out a few weeks back, is amazing. I've also been listening to a Melbourne act called Big Yawn. They've got a new record called Pressure Acts out, and yeah, I think they're probably two that spring to mind.
That's pretty good. Where do you get when it comes to like your local bands? Previously, I would have imagined it would have been seeing them at gigs, but in the last 18 months, how do you find like your new music through these different times?
It's a good question. I haven't really been finding it's honestly usually for me it's friends sending me stuff or that kind of thing. Like a friend of mine, Jordan, sent me this band from, I think that they're from the States. Not sure where. They're called Soul Blind. They're kind of, it's like a mix. It's sort of Deftones meets like Frog Stomp era Silverchair meets Smashing Pumpkins, kind of like sort of nostalgic sounding rock, but like new. It's really cool. But yeah, I need to discover shit like that because like he found it and sent it to me.
Yeah.
Spice actually I like too, which is we had Ross from Ceremony on our pod recently, and he's got another band called Spice, and I just randomly checked that out because I saw that there was another band and that album's actually really good as well. But yeah, I think at the moment it's just friends and, you know, like in our Discord, people are throwing around things they're listening to, and I guess it's that. It's sort of finding out what your mate's listening to or just trying to at least get one or two recommendations here or there.
Yeah, that's very cool. I imagine the Discord would have, especially if they're there for you guys, so they'd have some quality recommendations that are adjacent to what you're enjoying anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I found out the new Limp Bizkit album was out. So there you go. Yeah.
Fred,
actually really good. No, you go.
I was just going to say, can we try and get Fred Durst on What a Great Punk by the end of the year?
Yeah, that could be cool.
Sorry, what were you going to say? Mine was definitely less important.
I was going to say some of the guys from Adelaide band Raccoon City, sort of in our Discord and listeners of the pod, and I love their album. So that's kind of that was an interesting way of discovering one of my newest favorite albums through, I guess, members of the Discord community and fans of the podcast kind of sharing their own stuff. And yeah, that's really cool.
It's definitely, I will give the Discord a bit of a plug in the show notes and make sure there's a link to that, as well as all of your other stuff, including the December 3rd show and the vinyl, if it's still available at this point. But Todd, thank you very much for coming on the pod today. I do appreciate it.
Oh, pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me. It was a great chat.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to Todd Andrews for his time. What a Great Punk has new episodes each week, and we've left links in the show notes if you'd like to follow their podcast watch their mockumentary, stream their music, or buy tickets to their Melbourne show. You can find a link to our Spotify playlist in the show notes, where you'll be able to listen to all of our guests' picks. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Thursday and Friday morning, with guest playlists streaming on Spotify at the same time. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers!
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hi, I'm Zibby Owens, and I am the host of the award-winning podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. I have daily author interview podcasts, over 1,600 of them that I've recorded over the last 5 years. Hear from all your favorite best-selling authors, celebrities, and more, even if you're too busy to read the books. Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Again, that's Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Listen today.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.